It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Yes! Yes! Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
It is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbackin.
Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for what week are we in? That was just week 3, so we're in week 4 of season 6. Geese isn't here, but he might call in a little bit later. But guess who we have? the one who's been offering every one of you trades this week, and probably for the last 2 weeks, Mr. Eugene Gazenput.
What's up, everyone?
All right. So I don't know. I have a feeling I'm just going to lose control of the show anyway from the outset. So why don't you just go ahead with the game that you want to go cover from last week, which...
I just want to say before we start that I feel like I'm the Ric Flair of the league. I'm styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing son of a gun. I'm just kicking ass and taking names. I'm 3-0. I think I'm number 1 in the league.
You are.
I think Michael Avenatti is currently representing Lombardi for neck injury because he strained his neck looking up at me in the standings. So I'm just destroying people left and right. Just drafting free agents. I'm thinking about just writing a book how to be good at fantasy and then maybe selling it to the rest of the league. But anyway, I was hoping that Geese would get on and this would be a little bit better, but we'll just hopefully wait till he calls in.
Well, we could save your game for a little bit later and go over the other games and your opinions on the other teams.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, well, which game do you want to go cover?
Anyone you want. I'll leave it to you as a moderator to go over it.
Fine, well, let's
Doesn't
go.
really matter.
Fine, let's go over my game. It was the biggest blowout of the week, the highest score of the week. 1603ers beat Black Ice Dynasty 147.74 to 109.06. So do you want to go over each position? I mean, I can go over each position. Fitzpatrick got 34.14 points versus Goff's 32.56. Fuller and Boyd with 21.1 for Fuller and 25.7 for Boyd versus Tyreek Hill's 7.6 and Landry's surprising 20.30. Melvin Gordon, who you continue to offer me trade offers for. Although I have to say, the one that you sent me today was actually kind of on the border of fair. If I was in the market anymore, I've gotten myself out of the market, so I'm not interested anymore. But
I feel like you say that I offer unfair trades, when in actuality I offer very fair trades. The people I offer trades for, I own Mahomes, who's like Superman. I don't think there's ever been a quarterback that exists like him. He's set every single quarterback record in 3 games. He's got 13 touchdowns, no picks. It's the best start in the history of quarterbacks. He's on pace to eclipse Peyton Manning's 55 touchdown record. So to say I want a prized asset in return is not outrageous to me. I got 2 great quarterbacks. I'm willing to deal one of them. So why shouldn't I get a top prospect in return? I know you guys think quarterbacks aren't valuable, but he's unlike every other quarterback in the league. Right?
I think you should get a valuable player in return. It's just you're going for too high a value player. I think
when
on a lot.
You say too high, I think that's debatable. Too high based on what standards? If you want somebody who guarantees you over 30 points every week as a quarterback, when, like we saw this week, Cousins had a bad game, right?
Yeah.
Get it against Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I had to eat that. Who's been so far, but he ate shit. Mahomes hasn't done that yet. He's been fucking throwing 4 or 5 picks every week.
Sure, for 3 weeks. I'm just saying, first of all, I mean, look how many quarterbacks. There's 2 quarterbacks in this game that we're talking about right now alone that have gotten over 30 points.
I agree with you. But
There were
you know what?
2 quarterbacks in your game that got over 30 points. And in fact, there's even more. There's one on the bench in this game that got 50 points. So.
Okay. Then the question comes down to consistency. You look at Fitzpatrick, who's been really hot there. You saw it even this week. Even though he had good numbers, he threw 3 picks, and the leash with him, depending on, it's going to be game to game, because Winston's coming back now. Even though I think he's going to retain the job, you can't say that 3-4 weeks from now he's going to be the starter there, or he's going to continue this trend. The league sort of catches up, and I get Mahomes might come down to earth a little bit, but so far, based on that offense, the wide receivers they have, the running back they have, the offensive line, and his talent, I think that's less of a chance than somebody like Fitzpatrick.
Well, I'm just saying that I think
even Rodgers and Brady sucks this year. He's got no offense around him. He hasn't been putting up points. Rodgers is hurt. How many top flight quarterbacks can you guarantee on an every week basis to be consistent?
Well,
We're talking about consistency.
I'll give you that Mahomes is better than those quarterbacks. I will absolutely give it to you. I'm just saying that the drop off between a great quarterback and the next best quarterback that you could just plug and play versus a good running back and the next best running back that you could plug and play there's a bigger chasm between the running back quality and okay.
No question. I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm not disagreeing. You have no argument for me that running backs are more valuable. However, if you look at the free agent pool right now, who's the best quarterback out there? Is it Tannehill? Who are you going to get? Josh Allen week to week? So most people in our league already have 2 quarterbacks, at least. Some have maybe even more. So as far as consistency, the teams that don't have that good quarterback are in the market for a solid, consistent, steady starter. Right?
Sure.
So, and that's worth an asset, whatever it is, whether it's a top flight wide receiver or a top flight running back. So we could debate this. I mean, I doubt that you're going to give me that Mahomes is going to shatter Peyton Manning's record, but right now he's on pace, and they're shutting him down in the 4th quarter because they're up like 25 points every game.
Right.
He could be he could possibly have 17, 18 touchdowns if they don't shut him down in the second half, which they've done in every single game.
Sure. Sure.
So
look, I'll give you that he's the best quarterback so far through the first 3 weeks, and he may very well be the best quarterback from now on. I think your reputation for the trades is not even necessarily with Mahomes, though maybe some of them, I don't even remember all of them that I've seen. But like when you were shopping Antonio Gates after literally getting 0, first of all, after picking...
Okay. For the record, all right, now let me set that straight. Let me set this record straight. I proposed a trade to him. Gates, for whatever reason, on my phone, I had to throw another player in because it wouldn't let me do a 2-for-1. I offered him, I forget what the deal was. It was a good player, and
I think it was Devonta Freeman.
2 of his guys, I think I was trying to get a tight end from him. I don't even remember who the tight end on this team is. Mm-hmm. But Gates was a throw-in, and I told him that in the thing. I said, this is a throw-in, you could drop him. I was planning on dropping him anyway.
Right.
So I told him, it's not like I was proposing Gates for the trade. I gave him, I think, a good wide receiver, a good running back in the deal because I was trying to get a tight end and a throw-in. But the player I was giving him, I thought was better than his tight end. So it ended up being a 2-for-1. So Gates was just a throw-in because on my phone, for whatever reason, it wasn't allowing me to do it.
Probably because you didn't have enough space on the bench. Actually, another interesting thing was that you traded. So the first trade that you did with Dr. Hockey, which I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was McCaffrey, Adams for McCaffrey, yeah. Right? And then the interesting thing was that you picked up, or what do you call it? So you traded him like what was it, like Delaney Walker for Seals Jones. Yeah. For Seals Jones, who actually that's a team that I'd love to talk about because he's a lunatic. But so he dropped him, and then you ended up picking up the guy in your own trade that you got back. Really interesting.
Well, Delaney Walker got hurt.
Right. Well, no, I know.
Very first game.
No, I know that really actually screwed you over on the. Well, it didn't screw you over on the trade, but it It
No, the
was
trade was McCaffrey for
Adams, right?
Adams.
Right, and you got a
So
little bit.
that was the trade.
Right. I mean, you got a little bit better out of the deal because of the Delaney Walker thing, at least on paper when it happened, and then it just came back to size, and frankly, like the McCaffrey for Adams thing was fine. All right, let's
And
okay.
Adams has been solid, by the way.
Yeah, so is McCaffrey. It's a good trade. That was actually a legitimate trade. I have no complaints about that. I think the other reason why you get a reputation for whatever with your trading, it has to do with your little buddy there, Matt Lombardi, who loves to shit on every trade that happens. I mean, even reasonable ones. But I think I don't know. I love how Whalers like interjects on all of these things every once in a while, where he's just like,
I don't know who Whalers is. But,
do you not remember? Did you not go when Whalers was there?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there after the first year. I moved out.
Because you had your little frat thingy, right?
The fraternity. You don't call your country cunt, Dave. Please.
Well, your fraternity.
What fraternity? A brotherhood, Dave. It's a brotherhood.
Your brotherhood. I know. I often call what I have with the men I sleep with a brotherhood too. Anyway.
No, but your game, you clearly dominated. Who's Black Ice Bedway?
That's LeVar. You do remember him, don't you?
Yeah, I remember LeVar. Good guy. Bad fantasy player. Yeah, you destroyed him. He's got, I mean, looking at his team, Goff is solid. Hill's solid, but Hill, to me, is like a boomer bust player every week.
He is.
Because if he pops off, he's going to have a monster day for you. But he's not like a PPR guy he's like Landry, who's the opposite, where he'll have a lot of receptions.
Right.
So if Hill gets in on one, breaks one, he's a stud. But you'll have those days like LeVar had today where Hill does shit. Landry actually had a good day for him.
I know.
Drake's garbage. Yeldon's garbage, even though he had an okay day, and probably Fournette's coming back next week. Birch is solid, and he does whatever he does, although he'll probably do better, I think, with Wentz there.
He will.
Thomas is solid, but he's not spectacular because I think they go to Sanders more on that team.
Yeah, and he dropped so many balls.
He didn't have a great day where you got lucky. Well, not lucky. I think Boyd's solid. I like Boyd, and your team's better. If you're looking at it top to bottom, I mean.
Plus, for the record, I made a fucking mistake. So I actually had Ridley in the lineup Saturday night, like going into Sunday morning, and I was over at my boyfriend's house, and his like little step brother to be soon, like 2 weeks ago.
Doesn't sound like you like him.
What?
Doesn't sound like you like. It doesn't sound like you like his brother-in-law.
Oh no, I mean he's like 20. He's like a little obnoxious. He's like a you on, like it's like your online format, or
so extremely good looking, or
no, not extremely good looking.
No. So not like me.
Just no, because how could you be better looking than you? I mean, you're my secret crush. We all know.
True.
Right. Now,
that's right.
I just mean loud and obnoxious, like you.
Doesn't sound like me.
Right. Well, I don't know. It doesn't sound like you at all. I mean, that's not what you hear in your ear. But anyway, so 2 weeks ago, he had told me something about like John Brown was going to blow it up or whatever, or whoever the guy that was that he picked it up. And
from Baltimore?
Yeah, from Baltimore, who didn't really blow it up, but
He's solid.
He was solid, and I had him on my team, and I dropped him, and then he was like, "Why did you drop him?" He ended up, doing well, and then Geese ends up, that happens to be the guy that for the next week that goes for a bidding war. So whatever. The night before, I'm like, all right, who do you think I should play? I'm debating between my receivers. Should I play Tyler Boyd? Should I play Crabtree, or should I play Ridley? And Ridley was in the lineup, and I was like, here, set my lineup. But let me see what you come up with. So he ended up playing Crabtree and sitting Ridley, and then I watched it on his couch that morning, just watching Ridley go insane. I mean, I was never going to play Ryan, so I don't feel bad about that 50 points, though that 90 points would have almost beaten Miner by themselves. But the Ridley thing, I kind of kicking myself for. Also, he lost in his little survival league, which I stayed alive.
But you're happy, I bet.
I am happy. I'm happy that he, because he picked Minnesota.
So in his defense, I mean, I don't think anybody would have predicted that Ridley would have gone off for 3 touchdowns. I like Ridley. I think he's going to be good, but you cannot expect this from him every single week. They got some on that team.
No, absolutely not.
They got Julio. He's the third option there with Hopper.
I think he's the second option. I think that Julio Jones.
You think they're going to Ridley?
Yeah, I think they are. I think
Sanu. Ridley over Sanu?
Yeah, I think Sanu is heading out the door. But I do agree with you that there was no way that you could know that he was going to go for 3 touchdowns or whatever else. I'm just saying, for the record, I had him in at 2 in the morning and then pulled him because of the advice of my, I don't even know what you'd call him.
I actually your secret crush in your boyfriend's life, I guess you could call him.
Well, I mean, he's he's a fellow Jew with Guatemalan ancestry. It's a really interesting combo there.
It's a mix of both worlds.
Right.
I actually like getting back to football, Boyd, going for the future.
I do too.
Because AJ is a little bit banged up, and I think Boyd becomes the number 1 option there now. So you might be sitting pretty with Boyd there.
I know. I am actually playing with him. And then I don't know I don't know how long. I mean, Fuller looks good, but I'm vaguely worried about him.
You might think about dropping Hogan, who's been terrible.
I tried to.
What are you going to do about Le'Veon? What are you going to do about Le'Veon?
Well, it looks like I mean, right now the Jets are talking about signing him.
Okay, just for the record, if you want to really get into bullshit trades, right away, you know where I'm going with this. That Le'Veon Bell for George Kittle trade was just obscene. I mean, the Connor trades you an RB1 essentially. Any running back on Pittsburgh who's starting is an RB1. So to trade him for Kittle, who's modest at best, for a guy who you don't know how long he's going to start for. Let's say he starts for 3-4 weeks as an RB1, is way more valuable than George fucking Kittle.
But
talk about bullshit one-sided trades. That trade was bullshit.
Okay.
And I called you out on that right away.
Well, that's fine. You did, but here, but also, in his defense, first of all, Nick is somebody who has Todd Gurley and Elliott, and didn't have...
You couldn't use an RB1? You couldn't use an RB1? Or who else in the league could he have traded to? He's way more valuable to you than any other owner. He could have gotten a lot more for him, or he could have started him in the flex and gotten RB1 numbers.
Sure. I'm just saying for the first couple of weeks, but we didn't know. I mean, but let's be fair. This didn't happen like after the first week or anything else. This was immediately after the draft. What?
You knew week 1 that Connor was starting, that Bell was holding out. You didn't know how long it was going to go. But
right.
George Kittle is a middle-of-the-road tight end. I don't think he's the worst. I don't think he's the best. He's not even top 5. In my opinion, you could argue where he is 6, 7, 5, whatever it is. Tight end position has been shit, but now, even now, I mean, you couldn't tell that Garoppolo got hurt, but he was not worth an RB1 in a running back, dearth league.
A backup.
You don't have a lot of them.
I'm saying you're having this discussion now 4 weeks in, knowing exactly what happened in the season. But I'm saying at the time, immediately following the draft, it looked like he might play 1 week, and the speculation was that Bell was going to come back right after that. And I was giving him a tight end that, by the way, Garoppolo really liked. We thought that Garoppolo was going to play much longer anyway. We didn't know that Cook was even going to do well. I mean, we're talking about immediately after.
Yeah.
Yes, I did get the better of the trade. There's no... I'm not arguing with that, with you. Obviously, it panned out.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have Le'Veon, you didn't know how long he was going to hold out for. No. Nobody really did. It could have been 1 week. It could have been 8 weeks, because the rumors are out there. They could set out 8 weeks. So without
they're even talking about 11 at this point, but okay.
So let's say we split it down the middle and say you average 4 weeks, right?
Sure.
Because you don't know, right? The average out. He's more valuable to you than any other player, because now you spend $60, $70 on a running back who's not going to play. You need another position to fill that. You should have been giving him the farm for that, because you have to guarantee yourself a running back on a week-to-week basis or somebody. So for him to trade him to you for basically nothing, because you could pick up a tight end just like George Kittle, even at that point in time.
I think I had extra tight ends at that. I already had Rudolph.
Yeah, so you basically traded nothing. You had another tight end. You traded nothing to get a.
You there? Sorry, you there?
Yeah, I said you traded nothing because like you said, you had another tight end to get an RB1, to guarantee yourself an RB1 at a spot. It was a great trade for you. I'm not knocking it. I'm going forward to prove it, but I'm just saying that was a bullshit one-sided trade in your favor.
I don't think it was bullshit. I just think that, yes, it was. I agree with you that it was a great trade in my favor. I don't think it was bullshit. I just think that it was,
It was a bad trade for Nick, good trade for you.
Yes. Yes. I have looked back on the actual bullshit trade that I've made in time, which, we don't have to rehash it. You weren't even around then, but, that I made with Jamel years ago. And, he offered it to me, so I accepted it. I mean, even though it was, but then I've re-looked at it, and that was bullshit. Even though,
I'm not saying it was collusion or anything. I mean, it go through, but I'm just saying it was a
No. I get that. I understand. I don't think that you are, because it wasn't. It wasn't collusion. It was. But yes, you're right. It was in my advantage, and it really has helped my team. I don't deny any of that.
I see that conversation and going, come on, Nick. It's a backup. You're going to get a 1 week discussion. Nick probably said, okay, because it's a 1 week rental. Probably didn't think it through because to you, he was worth $60, $70, whoever it was. Whether Connor or Bell, that's an RB1 starting at your slot.
Sure.
He was more valuable to you than anything else, and you definitely got him for nothing, basically.
Sure. Well, I mean, you could probably trade with Nick right now. He would. I think he's interested in the trade that you offered me this. I don't even want to tell you this because the idea of dealing with this week. I should tell you this next week after I play you. But I mean, he would be interested in Keenan Allen, Marshawn Lynch for Elliott deal.
Well, I have a bunch of running backs. I'm willing to deal. I'm always up for trades. I don't care what the deal is. Elliott's sort of been down in Dallas. That whole offensive line is a little bit weak and banged up. Mm-hmm. He's been okay. He's like a little bit better than David Johnson, who's been a bust for Lombardi.
Oh my God, that's a terrible pick.
Oh, you know what? That was another conversation I had with Lombardi today. So he kept telling me he disapproves of if he drafts a guy in round 1 or round 2, mm-hmm. he'll never trade him for somebody who was drafted around 8 or 9, despite what they're on the field. And I had a argument with him over it. I'm like, are you fucking nuts?
Well, this was but this was the stuff that we made fun of him all last. Me and Geese would make fun of him last year for his ridiculous that's
absurd.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
That's why he got that's why we called him a low end coach 1.
Yeah, he's like Jim Fisher. What's it? Jimbo Fisher, the old coach from the Rams, just refuses to change. He's like stuck to his old 50 style mentality. He probably still run the veer if it was possible in football because he just refused to adapt.
Yeah.
But, I'll trade to anybody. Mahomes, Kamara, anybody, whoever, is out there, I'll trade for it if I think it's a right fit for my team. He thinks, if you draft somebody in round 1, you got to get a round 1 guy back in return.
No, that's ridiculous.
Stupid.
And nobody else thinks that way. I mean, I think definitely more along the lines of that you think on. I mean, I'm not looking to trade right now. I actually am, for a brief period of time, happy with my team. But, in general.
Looking at your team top to bottom, it's not a bad team right now. I mean, Connor's sort of come down to earth a little bit. He had a garbage game. He got most of his points in garbage time. But overall, I mean, you have a solid team.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could probably use a little bit stronger wide receivers. I mean, I don't know if Fuller, Boyd, and Crabtree are really lighting it up.
They're not, but I mean, I feel there's enough potential there. I mean, like I said, I like what I have right now. We'll see. I mean, because I thought my receivers were dog shit like 2 weeks ago. I spent, well, I didn't spend that much in the draft, but I spent a little money to get some wide receivers last week. So I just want to see how they perform over the next few weeks. I'm not saying that I won't be open to trades again in a couple weeks after I see how this team does, but I just like where it's at right now, just to at least to be able to see. I hate my fucking kickers. My fucking kickers.
I don't even want to talk about kicker and defense. You got an easy matchup this week. LeVar's team is not good. So this was an easy matchup.
No, I know. All right, let's move on to the next game. Surprised that Geese hasn't called yet, but
let's talk about Lombardi.
Oh yeah, I gotta give you the opportunity.
We had a whole 78 points.
I gotta give you a chance to talk about this game. Go through it. I'm happy to hear about it.
I'm looking at it. I'm pulling it up on my phone now. So Lombardi had a stellar 21 points from Rivers, who was high man for the week, and then he had a whopping 5 points from Diggs, 2 points from Thompson, 1 point for Disley, who was, I think, probably a pickup for him, and, 10 points for A.J. Green, who got banged up, David Johnson, who's been trash, got like 16 points, and Goodwin, who had one touchdown but didn't have great numbers. So the whole team, to score 78 points, basically Matt Ryan could have almost outscored him by himself.
I know.
One guy, that's the entire team against one.
Yep.
At the draft, I actually told him I thought he had a really good team. I thought he had a solid team. I mean, Diggs was solid, A.J. Green was solid. And then in a few weeks, I feel like everything's changed because A.J.'s now banged up. I mean, I think Diggs is still solid, but I think he's like 12 to 18 range. I like him. He's more of a PPR play, but Johnson's been trash because Arizona can't get past the 50-yard line, and he doesn't even catch a ball anymore. The coach there is atrocious. I'm surprised that he won't get fired during the season because I'm hoping with Rosen they move the ball a little bit better. Not that I'm a Johnson owner, but he's been a bust.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson so far. So if I was him, I'd try to see if I could spin him for somebody.
Well, what round did he get him in? I mean, that's the question.
No, that's the problem. You spend $70 on a guy, you want Gurley back in return.
Yeah, I guess.
So then he's got Chris Thompson, who's trash there. AP's eating up all those carries.
Not necessarily, though. Thompson has actually been good. This was a bad week for Thompson. I mean, Thompson has been...
This was a bad week.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was trash this game, but he's been okay. But the problem is, AP I thought was going to fizzle out and has been a lot better than I thought. I thought he was either going to get hurt by 4 or 5 weeks in, which could still happen. I just didn't expect him to get as much workload as they've been giving him. And I think the game plan for Thompson this week wasn't good because they were actually up on Green Bay, and then they started running the ball because if they're down, they're throwing the ball more, and Thompson's in the game. So the game script didn't really fit, for Thompson this week because they were up. They got up really quickly, and they just started running the ball.
Yeah.
So he's okay, but he's not he's more of a flex play as opposed to an RB2 play.
I agree with that.
Plug him in and hope for. He's more like, hey, I don't have anybody else, so I'm plugging him in, or like a bye week spot starter. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable starting him on a week to week basis.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how I used him. I had him last year, and that's how I basically put him in the flex. He was my third running back that I thought he would get me a decent amount of points until he got injured last year. I mean, but that's a good role. But yeah.
Yeah, looking at him, I would have played Collins over Thompson. Maybe played Thompson more in the flex, but I would play Collins even though he hasn't been great over Thompson. I would play DJ with Collins, and his team is just sort of, I don't know if it's banged up. Goodwin's been sort of, now with Garoppolo being out, Goodwin's almost worthless to me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, I would have played Chris Thompson. I mean, look, he got 24 points the first week and 22 the second week. There's no way I wouldn't have played him this week. That makes sense to me, especially with his running back.
No, I would have played him. I'm just saying, going forward, I don't look at him as a RB2. I mean, I don't think he has anybody better. It's between him and Collins, so you got to play with, the opponent. But I'm just saying he's not somebody I fall in love with, and I'm like, hey, I got to ride with this guy,
right.
And I feel comfortable with it. He's somebody you sort of hold your breath and hope he does something good.
Sure. And Rivers has been good lately. I mean, the thing is, he was playing the Rams. They're tough to play.
Yeah.
And
it's a tough opponent. That's more of a matchup thing. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, the Diggs, I don't know. I mean, Diggs the week before, what did he have, 30-something? It was ridiculous. And then this was...
It's just a fluke. I don't know.
This was like a trap game.
Shit the bed.
I think that they were just... I think Minnesota was looking ahead to playing the Rams on Thursday, and they just totally forgot that they had to play Buffalo this week.
Yeah,
and I think
I agree. I mean, I think it's more of an anomaly than a regular thing. I still like Diggs.
Yeah.
But I think he had a good first 2 weeks. This was just more of an anomaly. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just like with wide receivers, there's only a handful of guys that you could consistently say, hey, this guy produces points for me week in and week out. So same thing with running backs. You only have a handful of those guys. That's why he's more of a 12 to 18 range for me. But he's solid. If you look through, some of the other wide receivers in that range, I like Diggs. I think ultimately he's going to be okay in that offense.
Yeah, he will be. I mean, like, so I don't know how much of this is, like, just an anomaly in general for this week for him, because, I mean, a lot of the players fell off from the week before.
Yeah, he's been good. He has a good team, but I just think now it's more of a downturn if you look at it. He's got a couple of guys banged up. There's a bad matchups. Johnson's been terrible, so he can't be pleased with that. So his team, after starting off really hot, sort of leveled off after AJ got hurt and Johnson shitting the bed. I mean, if Johnson was producing, he'd be a lot better off. But even looking at his bench stinks right now.
Yeah, it
Jamal
does.
Williams is droppable to me because he's splitting time, and what's the name? Jones is coming back there.
Right.
Carr's not a good quarterback there. Who's going to throw to Cooper, who's can't hold on to the ball? He'll have 4 terrible games and then one monster game where you don't know what the hell he's going to do. So you start him the following week, and then he shits the bed again. So he's almost unstartable. Lewis is okay, but splits time with Henry, so he's never going to get you a bunch of points. Ebron's all right, and Collins is solid but not great, Corey Davis has a banged-up quarterback, so he's really got nobody on the bench.
I know.
If I was him, I would try to spin Johnson for like a 2 solid player deal.
Which I think I actually think that he can, just on name recognition alone. I wouldn't take
it on principle. He won't do it on principle because he values him as a round 1 guy.
Yeah, well,
I told him that.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Because he could absolutely get value. I mean, and there's some teams in this league that need just something, and yeah, he could get two. Yeah. But if he doesn't want to do it, I mean,
Yeah, listen.
But I mean,
I'm kicks in later.
I am aware that this is how he thinks about this. I mean, this is why. I mean, I've heard him spout his philosophy on this, which is why he complains about all the trades that happen. Whereas I think most of the trades that happen are actual deals that don't have. It doesn't matter where they were drafted. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. People just are like, I want to fill this position. I think that this guy would be working my team, which is and it's whatever the market will drive, which is how it works. Which is, but if he doesn't want to think that way, whatever. All right.
Should we talk about Nick and Jamie?
We should.
I don't know who they are, but
Jamie Turnage. Do you not remember her? She came in the same year.
Oh, I remember Jamie. Yeah.
It's her and her husband.
I remember her. Okay.
I'm shocked that they're, but yeah, I'm actually curious to hear your opinion on Nick and Jamie because they're 3-0. They're the only other 3-0 team with you. So.
Okay, so I like Newton at quarterback. I think he's solid on that team. He's like the only real major offensive threat. Golden Tate, RB2, borderline RB3 for me. He's average, if at all. Hilton, I actually like. He had a shitty game, but I think he'll be better. He's more of that, Hill-like player where it's boom or bust. If he rips one because of his speed, he'll be great. But you're going to have days like this where you have 10 points.
Right.
Hunt I own him in a couple other leagues. I think he's solid. The problem in that offense becomes Andy Reid. He's like a wild card. You never know what his game plan is going to be, and they've been airing it out lately. So you're just hoping for like goal line carries at this point because they're not running him like a workhorse back. They're splitting time with Spencer Ware, and I think he's like right around like that 15, 16 points a week. If he pops a touchdown. Yeah. But I don't think he's going to be the workhorse back like he was with Alex Smith last year. And he's like a borderline RB1, RB2. I think he's still in there. He's solid. I like him. But I've come down on him, even though I own him in a couple other leagues, because I just think that they're running the offense differently this year with Mahomes.
Well, I don't think. I thought about that even before I knew like how he's going to run it or whatever. I had Hunt last year, and like in the middle of the year, he just disappeared weirdly because of Andy Reid's play calling. And
I agree.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I own him. I own a bunch. I owned him last year. You beat him out by because I ran out of money last year. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
I was after him last year.
Right.
I still like him, but I've come down on him because just the offense. Andy Reid is just a bad game manager when it comes to running backs.
Yes.
And it might be like halfway through the season he changes it up, and all of a sudden they start running the ball 40 times a game. But I just don't see it because of Mahomes and their guy, and they're airing it out. First, second, third down.
Oh wait, Eugene, hold on for 1 second. We have Geese calling in. This is exciting.
Geese.
Yeah. All right. Geese.
Yeah.
You're on the air, but what happened to Eugene? He was just here. Hold on 1 second. We're actually still on the air. I think I actually dropped him by accident. Hold on. I'm pausing this for a second.
What's up, Hagler?
Hagler, what's up?
What's happening, buddy?
Good game this week, buddy.
Yeah, see, Dave, that's what I wanted. I wanted a good game, bro.
I know you got it. I mean, so I've been shocked. I'm sorry that you're so late to the game on this podcast, Geese, because Eugene is actually, first of all, he's been reasonable. He's been articulate. I actually have agreed with him on a lot of the things. I'm shocked. He's very different than he is in text format. Let's see if it changes now that you're on the phone with him.
I can rip these if you want me for a few minutes.
I mean, if you want, but no, he's been reasonable, and his analysis has actually been, I think, spot on most of it. And he's been talking, and he has talked a little shit about Lombardi, but it has to do with the shit that he does, like with his trading philosophy. I mean, tell Geese about his trading philosophy, and we went over this last year, but
No, I was just telling Dave how Lombardi, if he drafts a guy in round 1, refuses to trade him for anything other than round 1. So if I drafted a guy in round 8 and he's killing it and producing at round 1 level, he won't trade him because he drafted his guy in the first round and he thinks he could only he thinks he's missing out on something. So the whole thing doesn't make sense. He's got his own guerrilla logic for how he does these kind of things, and just nonsensical.
Okay, see.
Yeah, that's why he's a low-end Coach 1, right?
Yeah. Well, he's going to ride or die with David Johnson, even though he's not producing. But, look, he could be that he starts off like Le'Veon Bell last year and then pops. Who knows? But I don't love Johnson. I think he had one good year and has shit the bed or been hurt every other year.
Yeah.
I had a whole argument with him at lunch about this, too. I don't love him. I think he's clearly valuable. Can he catch balls? But he's caught like 2 balls last week. They're not even throwing him. They're not even targeting him in that offense.
Didn't they pick up a new quarterback this week? I think I read that.
No, they got Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen started this week.
Oh, right. Let's see if that does anything.
UCLA.
Yeah.
UCLA. Fellow Jew.
There you go. Maybe that'll turn the season around.
The whole tribe is rooting for him.
Shalom. Mazel tov.
Shalom.
Mazel tov to the Blues. All right, so where else were we on? So I guess we were going over Nick and Jamie.
I was talking Nick and Jamie.
Right.
Nick and Jamie, I was saying how much I like Hunt, but I just don't think he's as valuable as last year. White's almost droppable for me at this point. I mean, I feel like they're centering their offense on Sonny Michel. I think he's a good stash, but he's not a startable player for me. What's the name?
He's gotten double digits every week, though.
Yeah, but you know what? They're not. He's not a guy that's going to pop off and have that big breakout week. They use Burkhead, even though he's basically trash at this point too.
Didn't he get injured?
They're focusing that off.
I feel like I saw him on IR.
Injured or they don't. They brought in somebody else. I think he did get banged up, but they're focusing that offense around Michelle. I'm convinced of it. I think Michelle's. They still do the split carries around running backs, and White's okay. He's
White.
a flex play at best. He's a flex play at best.
I agree. I think White is very much like Thompson is. Like he's the guy. He's either gonna.
But
okay.
He has Michelle on his bench. He's got Michelle on his bench. So in the future, I would probably play Michelle, but who had a bad week. But I think what's his name? Patricia's got the New England offense figured out there. So I don't know. He just had a bad week, and the entire Patriots team, I feel like, is not gelling.
Oh,
I think they have internal, there's internal friction, and that whole offense has been terrible, including Gronk.
Oh yeah, well, me and Geese watched that game on Sunday, and we just couldn't believe how bad the Patriots look.
Yeah, I think that. By the way, I think Nick and Jamie have an entire Patriots team on their team.
No, they do.
They have between Edelman, Michelle, Gronk, and and White. I didn't realize how many players they have.
Oh yeah.
Is Jamie a big Patriots fan or something? Or
no, he's actually a Colts fan.
Her
Which
husband?
is it? Her husband is a Colts fan. Jamie, Jamie couldn't care less.
He's probably a big Tom Brady fan. That's what I'm guessing. Somebody finds him attractive.
No, he's an Andrew Luck fan actually, which is interesting.
Right.
I know. Well,
Okay. I don't know. Well, they have half the team, so I'm surprised that they're 3-0. I think they're one of those teams that run into a bad opponent on a week-to-week basis. You know, there's certain good teams that play somebody who outscores them every week. Yeah. They're like the opposite of that. They're like a middle-of-the-road team that just plays bad teams on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've gotten lucky. I mean, they won by less than a point against Kimmel the first week. That was the week that Amari Cooper couldn't get the one catch. Yeah. So that was the first one, and I think he played Nick the next week, and then he plays this game where Lombardi only scores 78. So it's questionable how long this is sustained, and I don't think that being that reliant on Patriots is actually going to pan out as well as they think.
Yeah, I think if they keep playing that in the future, I think they'll be better a little bit when Edelman comes back, but not that much better. I think Gronk will be Gronk. Eventually, he sort of had a bad 2 games. I don't know if he's banged up or not, but he's going to try to get that bonus money.
Well, I just think
that all incentive deal.
I just think the Patriots are terrible. All right, Geese, do you have any thoughts on this game?
No, I think you guys pretty much covered the whole thing. Like you said, they're just running into the right teams at the right time.
All right. Well, all right. So let's go to the next game. Do you guys want to have some fun at hockey's expense, or do you want to go over your game?
Let's go hockey. We'll save us for
all right.
a little bit later.
All right. So this was the battle of the 0-2s. One of these teams was going to be 0-3. One of them was going to be 1-2, and at least have a chance. Clearly, the Whalers stepped up to the challenge, though. I'm actually surprised at his game a little bit, although he has some significant quarterback problems. But Hockey, who continues to just make all the bad decisions he possibly can, did it again, and he drops to 0-3 with a 142.50 to 113.74 victory for the Whalers. I don't know. Eugene, take it away on what you think of Hockey's team.
So, I mean, I like Breeze. Just constantly gets into shootouts. The defense is horrible, so he's playing from behind. So Breeze and Adams are fine. Even Cole's mediocre at best. The problem he has is he has 0 running back. Why would you start Grant at running back?
After dropping and mind you, he paid $121 to get Yeldon.
Lindsay?
No, to get Yeldon.
Oh. Then
he dropped Yeldon, and then Miner picked him up, and then he put in Grant.
Yeah, I mean that's bad management. But looking at his bench, I mean he got Fournette hurt. I would have started Freeman over Grant certainly. Not that I love Freeman, but I like him better than Grant. I like him better than Lindsay, too. I mean, Freeman's really the starter there. I mean, Lindsay got kicked out of the game, but I certainly would have started him over Grant. So, I mean, that's it. I don't think that would have helped him. But who else did he have? He had Ted Ginn. I mean, his wide receiver, Cole, I guess you'd start him over there. And then, well, you can't really knock him. I mean, he just got a weak running back. I mean, Fournette is banged up, and he's got nobody else. I mean, Freeman's been below average at best, and between him and Lindsay, he's got to start one of them. He's not starting both, so he probably picked the wrong guy from that, and then went in and started Grant when I would have taken somebody off the waivers before I started him.
That's who
he's just looking at. He's got top heavy. You got 2 good players, and the rest is pretty much trash or middle of the road.
Yeah, all right, Geese, what do you think about Hockey's little performance here? Because I know it's one of our favorite pastimes to shit on him.
Well, I mean, the man's 0-3, so I'm not going to pile it on anymore. We'll have to play this. Probably not a good idea.
Why? Nothing's going to change if you pile on him. You think all of a sudden his guys are going to play better because they hear your podcast?
Rosas is going to go after you.
Yeah, I don't need Rosas blowing it up.
Has Audwin, is he traditionally like a bottom-dwelling team, or he's usually solid?
Oh, he's usually terrible.
What kind of question is that?
I don't know. I mean, this is my second year. He's been terrible last year, and he's terrible this year. But
he won the
so
somehow he won the championship in season 2. But other than that, he's been just abysmal. I think he won one game his first year. So it's like I'm trying to think of a team that like had one magical season and everything else was dog shit. That's him. He had one magical season and then everything else was crap.
He had the Miracle on Ice season. Is that what it is?
Basically, yeah. And he beat me in the championship that year, which pissed me off. But yeah.
I mean, let's look at Whalers because he had a much weight. I mean, let me do this analysis. I could go off. You could put this as bulletin board material since I beat him this week. Oh no, I beat him last week, I think. So his quarterback is shit, which is why I made him the trade offer. I mean, he's got Antonio, who's been subpar, but traditionally, hopefully, he comes back down for him. Galladay, to me, I like Galladay, but he's more of that flex start. He's not going to be putting up between Jones and Pate there. He's the second, maybe third option. I feel like they're going towards Galladay a little bit more, but he's not going to put up 17 points on a week-to-week basis. Kamara's a stud. I love Kamara. I don't know if his carries will decrease once Ingram comes back, but I love Kamara, so I can't really shit on him. Bernard is going to be useless, I think, after next week if Mixon comes back. So that was just a free agent pickup play, which worked out well for him.
And he has Mixon.
Yeah. Oh, he has Mixon?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, he's got that position. No, wait, he doesn't have Mixon. I don't see him.
He's on the IR. He's on his IR.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay. Then he's got that spot filled. Eifert's okay. I mean, compared to tight ends, Geronimo Allison's solid. He's like that fringe free agent pickup. You could use him as a flex play, so he was good. He's got a good team minus a quarterback. If we think about it, I mean, his wide receivers are a little bit after Antonio are, not like wide receivers too. They're more flex plays, but between Mixon and Kamara, he's got good running backs. His tight end is, average, which is going to get you through. But his quarterback sucks. Trubisky is terrible. He's probably the worst quarterback in the league. I mean, if you look at it. And he doesn't really have that many weapons there aside from Burton. He hasn't even been putting up great numbers. But that's a team that needs a quarterback. I mean, you could use some help at wide receiver. And I think the deal I offered him was maybe, I don't know if I offered him Mahomes or Cousins for Mahomes maybe and a wide receiver for Kamara and somebody else. I don't remember what the deal was. So I thought it was a fair deal. So I didn't think it was outrageous, but, maybe he's got that Lombardi mentality where, hey, wide receiver, or running back one has to be like a running back one in return. Look, if he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it, whatever. But he needs a quarterback. I think he's got a good team. I don't think it's absurd right now, but I just don't think it's, elite or championship right now.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, he absolutely needs a quarterback. The question is if he gives up like Kamara, for example,
I think I gave him a running back in return. It just wasn't an elite one. I might have done like a Lynch, Mahomes sort of a thing.
That's actually exactly. That would be something that he maybe should consider. I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, that's up to him. But I mean, I think that's reasonable. I mean, considering how bad his quarterback is, and But I mean, sometimes a lot of times teams will build their team around one player. Like this is their guy, and then they just don't want to get rid of that guy.
It's a psychological thing. When you possess something, you value it more than whatever else, despite the fact. So I'm the opposite. I'll trade anybody on my team anytime. I don't get attached.
Well, that's like Geese. I mean, Geese, you would drop everybody into the garbage can last year. Like, I don't even think you had anybody from your draft. Yeah.
I'm with Geese. I have that same mentality.
Yeah, I'm not attached.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got a good team, but he needs a quarterback and probably an upgraded wide receiver. He's got a few middle-of-the-road guys. I like Williams from the Chargers, which is on his bench. I think he'll probably get a little bit bigger role. McCoy's been terrible.
Didn't Keenan Allen get hurt or something in that game?
Yeah, he's hurt, but I mean, he's got Baldwin maybe who comes back, but I feel like I own him in another league, and considering dropping him because he said he's going to be playing with a knee injury all year.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
So I don't love him. And he's got guys like Callaway, Williams, but they're more like wide receiver 2 or 3 plays, like flex plays. They're not like a guy you plug in and you feel comfortable with. But
yeah. All right, Geese. Any thoughts for you on this game?
No, pretty much played out like we thought it would.
All right. Well, there is one more game before we can get to yours, which is Nikki Baby versus Tillett Trey team. This is the battle of the 1-1 teams, and Tillett Trey went 141 or won the game 141.72 to 107.60. I noticed that Nikki Baby's not on the program tonight, which is fine, but he hasn't been on ever since he was bragging it up that first week.
Yeah, I listen to him. I listen to the podcast. I like Nick. He's a little bit long-winded for me, but
I think he is for everyone. Not that but I still enjoy having him on the program.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyway,
I feel like he overanalyzes it, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do too sometimes.
You want me to go through it? I'll shit on this thing.
Sure, go for it.
I mean, Rodgers is Rodgers. He's banged up, so I feel like 23 is a down day for him. Kupp is solid. He's like a wide receiver 2 on that offense. I feel like everybody on the Rams is scoring lately, so that's not really the problem for him. Cobb is a problem. Cobb is borderline unstartable. Gurley's solid. No, it's true.
No, I know.
It's terrible.
I know.
So, I mean, I got to go through his team. I haven't even done. Gurley's solid. Elliott's underperforming. I already said my piece before Geese got on about Elliott. I mean, they're banged up there. They have no wide receivers. Everybody's stacking the box against him. He's not catching the ball. So he, to me, is a diminished asset in this offense, and I feel like it's going to continue like that throughout the season. So he might do well in trading him. Cook is okay. He's like a middle-of-the-road guy, tight end. Murray is who I started in another league. It's actually not a bad start for this matchup because they were playing the Bills. Nobody would expect that, but he's basically droppable at this point. I don't know.
But also Cook.
Cook
was injured, so no. But I mean, Cook was injured, so it was a good start. It was a smart play to start him this week.
No. That's what I said. It was a smart play this week, but after this week, I wouldn't have to start him again because he was terrible. I mean, that whole team was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think you could start him again or feel comfortable with it unless something changes there.
No, I agree.
I mean, I guess if they got from behind and didn't use him because the game plan changed, but I mean, come on, to put up 8 points against Buffalo is ridiculous. I mean, he's got Shepard on the bench. Kittle, I would start Kittle over. Well, maybe not because Garoppolo got hurt. Cook has been better than Kittle this year, which is crazy to me because he traded Connor for Kittle and keep Kittle on the bench. Don't get me started on this again. It's just like going to bother me.
All right. Well, before it bothers you, Geese, what are your thoughts on Nick's team here?
Well, it's convenient that he's not on the podcast once again. We're shocker. So, that 170 was amazing, but had short in the following week. So, I don't know, Cook, Latavius Murray getting the start against Buffalo. Ooh, interesting. Well, Gurley just gets thousands of points no matter what he does. Elliott's been a little bit subpar, and the Cobb train, a little skimpy there. I don't know. I think Nikki Baby is, with Rodgers, is still on a skid, just like last year. So I wonder what kind of moves he starts to make.
I don't know if he makes.
Yeah, well, that's the problem because he spent all his money on Gurley and Elliott, right?
Yeah.
So you have to fill the team, and I guess with Rodgers, you have to fill your team with subpar players after that, and his wide receivers are weak, right? I mean, his team.
He had $6 left after his first 3 players in the auction.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got shit at wide receivers. I mean, Kupp is his best wide receiver. And you can't count on him. I mean, at most he's going to get you, like 16 points. That's like a great day for him. More along the lines, he'd probably get like 8, 10, 12 crap. And, he's starting too because he doesn't really have anyone. I mean, you can rely on Shepard to get you around the same thing as Cooper Cup, but he doesn't really have anybody better on the team. He really needs a trade for a wide receiver. He could probably do a 2-for-1 trade for Elliott and a wide receiver.
I know. I feel like the Gazenput store should be open and should send some targeted marketing over to Nicky Baby headquarters.
Look, I'm always open. Anybody can propose a trade to me anytime. Let's go. Who's still in, by the way?
Jimmy Siobhan. I don't know if you've ever met him.
Who's this guy?
That's what he's been asking all. I was shocked. Who did you not know that I was surprised he didn't? You don't know Whalers, which I find amazing, but I guess not.
No, I don't know Whalers.
I don't think you know. I don't know if you know Tillett. I mean, he was Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Siobhan. He's been there for I don't know.
I don't know. Well, let's go over his team.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, you gonna do it? You want me to do it?
Oh, well, you can go over his team.
Yeah, sure. Roethlisberger's been solid. He's but I mean, they're playing from behind every game, so they're playing catch up. He's been putting up crazy numbers. Evans has been great with Fitzpatrick, better than expected. I thought he was going to be good, but I didn't think he was going to be as good as he is. So that's a good. Jones is. I don't know if he's a wide receiver 1 or 2. I think they're all 2. So he's not a bad wide receiver 2. Barkley's a stud. I love Barkley. Hyde had a monster game, but I just don't see him doing this. But he's not a bad RB2. And Jordan Reed, so he's got not a bad team. I mean, Burkhead is hurt, so he needs a flex. He'll probably play Crowell or I guess Crowell. I don't know who else he has. He could probably start somebody in that flex spot, but
Lockett. I think he's starting to Lockett.
Yeah. He didn't have a bad team. I mean, he had a good day out of everybody, so everybody sort of produced for him except for Burkhead. But, I mean, he's pretty good. He's pretty solid. I mean, his bench is a little bit okay, but I like his team. I think he's got a good team.
Yeah, I mean, look, he could be 3-0 at this point. If Amari Cooper gets that one catch in the first game, he is 3-0. So, I do think as far as his team, I mean, the Burkhead injury helps him because he's been keeping him in there like for 2 weeks now where I've just, you had to scratch your head over it. I mean, he ended up winning last week against me with him in there, but it was much closer. Like, had my kicker not bopped his banana on the sideline while jerking off in the first quarter, that could have been a very different game. But I think Burkhead being injured is going to force him to put Lockett in there, which is going to make his team much better. But Roethlisberger, I think, so he's been good, but I mean, you have to consider he's been playing Kansas City and Tampa Bay these last 2 weeks. I wonder how that's going to change when he plays another team.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, he's usually better at home than on the road.
Yeah, that's always true too.
But he's been putting up crazy numbers. Yeah. I think. I mean, if you watch the game, like that touchdown pass to Juju should have been picked off.
Yeah.
And he got lucky, and that was like a 70 or 80 yard bomb. And he had a okay game. I mean, he's putting up numbers, but
I just wonder
against Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's sustainable
matchups. Yeah. I think Evans has been overachieving also. So, I mean, I like Evans, but I think he's been overachieving. So he's going to come down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, especially when Fitzpatrick is out there. Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
He's got a good team, but they're overachieving a little bit.
Yeah. All right, Giz, your thoughts on Tillett's team?
No, Tillett's been riding the Fitzpatrick Tampa Bay train and the Steelers train. So, yeah, I think that's pretty. And Barkley gets these 1 yard dump offs all day long. So he's set right there. Hyde had, like I said, a monster game, but that's far above his usual numbers.
Yeah, he's not doing that every week.
Even Jordan Reed way overperformed his usual performance. And Rex Burkhead, I mean, when did you get to yank this guy out of the lineup? I don't even know why you're playing Rex Burkhead. He's like the ninth on the depth chart to get the ball.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's it for that. And now, on to your game. We're out of other games.
Should we do this is the Super Bowl.
Well, it's the semifinals from last year. The grudge match, as Lombardi put it. I don't know. Who wants to go first? I guess winners. The winner can go first, or the winner's
Yeah,
choice.
I'll let Geese go first.
Wrap it up.
Fine, Geese. Fine. Your opinion on this game.
Yeah, Geese.
No, Eugene, you're our special guest. Why don't you take it away?
Well, I think I never trailed in this game, if I'm correct. I think I just started off with a lead and just sort of carried through. At one point, you sort of made it close, but I think you needed like 18 or 20 points from James in order to beat me, which wasn't happening. If only you started Vance McDonald, which I think I told Dave I would have started if I were you. So that was just a managerial error by you. But if it wasn't for that, I think everybody knew that McDonald was going to outperform James. So I thought,
Yeah, you can't even say that without chuckling.
Look, I don't have to live with those kind of second guesses, my team is solid enough to perform on a week basis where I don't need miracle throws and performances by James or McDonald. But let's go through it. I'll take it. I mean, Ryan. Well, hold on. I just clicked out of me. Week 4. Let me see. Hold on. Week 3. Watson had an okay day for you. He's been a disappointment so far for the season. Would you agree with that?
He's just to a slow start.
It's like you're like a parent talking about a kid who fucked up a bunch of times. And you're not angry at him, but you're disappointed, right? I mean, even Hopkins, who you own, has just been a little subpar. I own him in another league, but I don't know. Something's off there. I don't know if he's coming back from injury and it just takes him some time, but the two of them haven't been great. That's my opinion. I don't know if you have a different opinion, but I think both of them have been a little subpar, even though they got you 30 points. I think one of the touchdowns was the last second touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. So he should have really had like 22 points or 23 points. But so that's like a misleading stat that he had 30. That was just garbage time. Brown's been okay. He's like a fringe wide receiver. You picked him up for waivers, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Peterson has been a lot better than expected. And that was before you got on. I was telling Dave that I'm shocked that Peterson was doing as well. I predicted he's hurt by week 4 to 6, somewhere around there because of the workload, and he's not used to it. So I hope that doesn't happen for your sake, but he's been a pleasant surprise and probably your best running back. Clements, I don't know who else you have, but to me, he's not startable. I don't know if it's a jibe. I don't like any running back on that team because they're like the Patriots. They split running backs, and nobody really gets a lot of points, and you're just hoping one of them gets a touchdown. Clements more of the pass-catching one, but I don't love him just because of I don't think he'll get like 7 to 10 carries a game, and you're just hoping for him to break one, so I don't love him. James, you picked up because you thought he probably had a good week last week, but you shit the bed. Everybody knows who started McDonald as the tight end to start there.
Everybody knows that.
Sanders everybody knows it. Sanders is a good flex play. So, I mean, I think you have I don't want to say solid. I'm going to say average. I think you're a middle-of-the-road team right now, looking at your team. Not that I study other teams, but I think your quarterback has been subpar. Hopkins has been subpar. Peterson has been better than expected. I think you have a problem at RB2 and maybe flex, because I think Sanders is more of your RB2 and Brown's your flex. So I think when you're banged up, because Cook is really your second running back, right? I would have started Burton over James, but I guess you want to ride the hot hand. Woods on the bench with 33 points. Holy shit! Why don't you start him?
That's a great question. Let me ask my coaching staff.
That was a bad managerial decision.
Yeah, in hindsight.
I would have played Des Bryant over Brown. But why are you still holding on to Des? Are you hoping he comes back and all of a sudden I would drop him? There's like a lot of guys on waivers or wide receiver you could pick up over him. It's just a wasted spot.
Also good too.
Look, I mean, better than you're putting a guy on your team who's not playing. Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't play. He's not even on the team.
Well, same thing with Bell.
James got almost as many points as Des Bryant.
Yeah, so I mean that's the comp right now. So I mean, I don't know. He's a little bit of a waste. I mean, you could bet on him when he comes back, but if you think he's going to come back and all of a sudden be like a wide receiver that he was, I mean, I just don't buy it. But I mean, I think the tight ends. I think you have a middle of the road team. I think Hopkins is underperforming, so if he comes back to earth, I think with him and Cook, you're much better. I think if Cook is banged up, you have a couple of injuries. Cook injury really hurts you. So, I mean, if Cook is healthy and Peterson plays, I think you're upper tier team. Without Cook, you're more middle of the road. And you're hoping some of these other guys get hot. Dave, do you agree?
Well, I think. Well, look, I think Dalvin Cook hurt him this week. The McDonald's. Look, I mean, Geese can talk about how his day went. I mean, essentially, but I mean, had he played McDonald's instead of Jesse James, he would have won the game. I mean, so it was like just that bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Or had he played...
I'm just ripping on him. Nobody would have played McDonald's.
No, I know.
Nobody in the galaxy.
Nobody.
No. I know. I'm just saying, like, the points were there from a Pittsburgh tight end. So, like, it could have happened. It just was ridiculous how it didn't. And then the Robert Woods thing, given what Robert Woods did for him in the first week, where they weren't really targeting him as much, and he also has some pretty good wide receivers. I mean, how do you sit DeAndre Hopkins? And Brown, he just picked up. Like, I would take him out for a spin, and Emmanuel Sanders has been playing well. So, I mean, like, the thought of playing Robert Woods at that point...
Sanders is better than Brown. I play Sanders. Sanders is wide receiver, too. It's Hopkins and Sanders, and then Brown's a flex.
Sure, and you're saying... Yeah, but I mean, like...
It doesn't really matter.
I mean, and that's fine, but I'm just saying, like, Robert Woods is the flex. I mean, you don't even know. I mean, they were playing the Chargers. It was the Battle of L.A. It's you think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think it's a mistake to play,
No, I'm busting him. I don't think it was a mistake. I think I probably would have played Brown in that spot, too.
But, I mean, like, I'm just saying that the points were there for him to be able to win this game. So, I mean...
No, he put up a decent amount of points. It's not that. I mean, but he ran up against a juggernaut.
Oh, of course, a juggernaut. So, I mean, what's he going to do?
It's not his fault he played me. He's just one of those teams, and
Yeah.
You're running up against the best.
I know. What are you going to do? So, Geese, I mean, Geese. So interestingly enough, also, by the way, so Geese, you had told me that we were talking on the phone in the morning, and you were watching the game, and then I said I would call you back and tell the story about how you slammed your laptop shut.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm talking to Dave at the beginning of the Cardinals game, and I'm like, all right, you know what, we're up by whatever. And then Ricky Seals-Jones has one bitch-ass catch, right? 35 yards.
35 yards.
And Eugene rocketed it up to 121. And I just stopped mid-sentence. I'm like, Chico, what? So then after the game, that ends up being his only catch of the game, right? And then Keenan Allen catches these two rinky-dink passes after he did nothing almost at halftime. So then I slammed my laptop shut in disgust.
Also, after
he was up 130 to 114.
After your kicker missed the field goal, by the way.
Oh, my kicker misses a 46-yard field goal to start that game. So I was just completely disgusted. I went to sleep in disgust. And I woke up after the games were over, and it was still 130 to 114. But then the kicker got close. It was actually 126 to 130. So I'm like, booyah, let's see what happens tonight. And then Matt Prater and his rinky-dink field goal, nickel and dime you, pretty much ruined it there. But yeah, I mean, it all came down to Jesse, and everybody knows he's playing McDonald, but backup blocking tight end. Everybody knows.
I actually texted Dave. I texted Dave before the game started. I'm saying, I can't believe Geese is starting James over McDonald.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what he texted me. Yeah. Yeah, totally texted me
So,
that.
again, Geese, it's not your fault. Don't beat yourself up for it. You ran up against a juggernaut, you know? This happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us. Look, when you go up against Belichick, I game plan for you. You know, I put in a certain lineup that, you know, counteracts the James moves that you make. So it's not your fault. I just want you to sleep easy tonight. It's not your fault. I feel like I've given Geese the Goodwill Hunting speech.
Well, there you go.
It's not your fault, Geese.
All right. Well, now that Eugene, you've gone over Gaze's team, Gaze, why don't you look over this juggernaut of a team, the Crush? I mean, like, I don't know. Can you analyze? I mean, it's tough to critique God, but I mean, I'll give you an opportunity to try.
From what I saw, well, it's tough. Eugene has tried to peddle Mahomes, a.k.a. the greatest player of all time.
It's true. Those are all facts. That's a fact. Not just me. That's stats.
What is he,
the greatest start to the season in history. Yeah, about that. Yeah, but only 3 this season.
The greatest player of all time, 4 games?
That's right. He's the GOAT.
So is he facing out MVP of the league. For the greatest player of all time? Yes, he's still on his team. There's no taker.
Didn't you say in the last podcast that you would start Cousins over Mahomes? I put my money where my mouth is. I started Mahomes over a Cousins against the Bills because I knew that would happen.
You knew that. I see. Well, you're right. That's why it's hard to go up and critique coaching God. They call it godlike move. All right, Michael Thomas is obviously having a phenomenal season. He leads the league in receptions. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable. I mean, I was watching the Saints game, and the Falcons just left him wide open. That might be a guy you might want to cover, I say. The guy who's leading the league in receptions. I don't know. Next time, I just write that down.
So wait, just before you go further, is it safe to say that I have the best quarterback and the best wide receiver in the league?
You've got one of the best quarterbacks. I think Fitzpatrick, who's 400 yards in 3 straight games, is up there as well.
Well, no, the best. Number 1 in Mahomes and number 1 in Thomas. Is that correct?
I'm having the best season of wide receivers so far, but Mahomes is right up there with Fitzpatrick, I have to say.
Okay. All right. So you agree with me? I have the best quarterback and the best wide receiver. All right. You can go on to Allen now.
One of the better quarterbacks. However, he only beat Watson by 1.26 points, and Watson's having a terrible season. So that doesn't say much for Mahomes. So Keenan Allen with 5.4 points obviously had a off game.
Well, they're going up against the Rams. Give him some credit. You know, he had a tough matchup.
He did have a very difficult matchup. McCaffrey, you will not have the luxury of playing next week because he's on a bye.
I know.
Breida had that big 66-yard touchdown run, which basically is most of his fantasy points for the season in one play.
That was last week, I think. That was last week.
Right. I would say that he's an RB3 if we already had to bracket him. Ricky Seals-Jones, I mean, one catch. If he doesn't have that one catch, he has 0. Watkins, he had an interesting game. Sanders matched him pretty well. And then Prater with the field goal fest. I mean, that's Prater for you. And then the Baltimore defense, I mean, you actually had an interception. The guy ran all the way back and was called back on a penalty. Otherwise, add 6 more points to the Baltimore defense. Actually, 7. So, I mean, this game came down to the coaching division on Monday night, which nobody would have done, mind you. So, it's
if you really think
to say that you slipped off the hook because nobody would have made that play. So, you should win.
I also had Carson on my bench, which put up 20, which normally I start in that spot, but I put Breda in based on the matchup. So, and I didn't foresee Garoppolo getting hurt. So, I mean, it could have been even worse than it was for you. I could have put up 150,
but
or
both of our auction day running backs, Cook and Freeman, are both struggling with injuries out the gate.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of running back depth. I got Freeman, who's usually an RB1, fringe RB2. So he's going to come back soon in a week or 2. I got Lynch, who's been very good this year. I think Lynch is a top 10 guy. I don't have to check his stats, but he's been solid. And so I have enough running back depth to cover for McCaffrey. I mean, was solid this game.
Yeah, but he was terrible before that.
Yeah, he was. I don't think terrible, but below average.
Below average? Let's look at Carson's numbers before
Yeah,
that.
I think
8.9.
along the lines of terrible.
8.9, and the week before that, 2.4. I think that's a little bit below average. Yes, you're right. I think I would quantify it as that.
But I think here's what I think. I think Carson is somewhere in between 8 and 20. I think he should probably average 12 to 15 points a game. I don't think he's an elite running back, but I think he catches the ball in that offense. And Penny's been terrible. I think they're trying to play Penny because he drafted him in the first.
I think he's more the McDonald's of running back.
Penny?
Usually he gets 2.4, and you just happen to get 20.
No, I think he's better than that. I mean, I disagree with that. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's playable. He's a flex play for me. I think Lynch is an RB2. I have Allen, who's just a touchdown hawk. He's, again, I don't love him, but if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's terrible, but he's been getting touchdowns every week. So, he's not a bad play at a flex spot. Carson,
I mean, if you look at Allen's statistics, he's atrocious. 6 carries for 7 yards.
Yeah, but he gets a touchdown every week.
Yards? Yeah, but minus that touchdown, he's down to 1 point.
I mean, that's exactly what I just said. I think he's touchdown dependent. He gets every single goal line carry in that offense, and he catches a pass for a touchdown almost every week. So look at his stats for the season. He's gotten that touchdown. I don't know if it's every week, but I think so.
I can't believe that. I mean, first of all, you did outbid me for him, which really annoyed me because I didn't even think anybody was going after him. So, good pickup on your end. But, yeah, you look at his stats. Like 1 rushing TD, 1 receiving touchdown, and 3 receiving yards gets you 17.6 points. Wow.
That's right.
I mean,
that's what touchdowns do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm just looking at it. Wow.
And
he has
has been great this season, too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just looking at it. Like, the first game he had 17 yards, the next game he had 8 yards, and the next game he had 7 yards. Wow.
And, of course, the first week I dropped Crowder. Crowder gets a touchdown this week.
Yeah, but Crowder sucks. That's not... I would drop him, too.
I agree. I think he's better than he's not as bad as he was on my team, but I expect him to be where, like that 12 to 15 point, flex play. But
no, I mean, like, look,
great.
I think you look at your team, and I think, obviously, almost week to week, you're going to have, I mean, unless there's buys involved, but I think week to week, your flex player is going to be a running back, because you're right, you do have tremendous running back depth, but, I mean, you can only play so many running, the most you can play is 3. So, and I think that your wide receivers, I mean, obviously, Thomas is good. Allen, I don't know. It's just a question of who you put in that. I mean, Allen is normally fine, but it's a question of who you put in that wide receiver two thing. And then you have a tight end problem. I mean,
whoa. Let's back up. Allen's a wide receiver 1 normally.
I've never been impressed by him, but sure.
He's a PPR play. He's a wide receiver 1. He's a top 12 receiver.
Sure.
So let's stop right there bashing it.
Fine.
Thomas and Allen are both wide receiver 1s.
Fine. I will even say that, but you have a weakness at tight end, though. That's okay. That's your.
But you know what? So does every single person who doesn't have Kelsey or Gronk.
I mean, even the person who has Gronk has some problems at tight end, by the way. But yes.
Yeah. So again, aside from Kelsey this season, every single person has had a problem with tight end.
No, I mean,
unless you had started Vance McDonald. Did you start?
I mean, yes, exactly. The guy who has Vance McDonald, they're solid. No worries. But yeah, no.
So
I mean, yes, you have a good team, and there's a reason why you're 3-0 because you do have a good team. So.
But look, what I was trying to do is I was trying to make trades. Like I thought they were fair trades to get either another wide receiver or a tight end or something. Because I have 2 stud quarterbacks. I could only play 1 at a time, I think, unless the rules change. And I'm looking to get an elite player. So I don't think the offers I made, I think, who did I propose to you today, Dave? I offered you Allen
and Lynch.
And somebody else. I forget who it was.
And Lynch.
I don't even remember what.
Allen and Marshawn Lynch for Melvin Gordon.
That's a fair trade to me.
It is. I said this was like the most fair one that you've sent me. I just had no desire. I had no Mike Leon, there's no need. I just didn't. That's not what I was looking for.
I feel like I don't. This league is like trade adverse, Aside from Geese, who's I think my only like trade partner.
Well,
feels the same
look,
way about players that I do.
Look, I will say this. I think that I've talked about this. Who you can trade with and who you can't. I think I've talked about it on this program before. I think Geese is somebody that you will trade with all the time. I think that you are willing to trade. What you're willing to trade for, I don't know. I would like Lombardi. It's nearly impossible to get him to ever trade. Tillett would trade if you offer him what you think is fair. I think that and I think that he's very fair with trading. Nick will trade all the time. Hockey trades, but he's a lunatic and a madman, so you never know what's going to happen with that. I mean, Weathers will trade. I mean, he's made trade offers before, and I think that he can be reasonable.
I've sent out like 15 trade offers randomly. I don't even remember what. That's why I can't even keep track of.
I know
but
you have.
I look at people. I look at people's teams. I look at what they need, and I make a trade offer. And I feel like nobody aside from Geese. But you look at it, but I don't know if you ever want to trade. I feel like you value your guys too much. But I feel like this league is like trade averse. Like I was willing to trade Mahomes or Cousins. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I value Mahomes obviously higher, but I have no problems trading anybody.
I'm not. No, I know. I'm not trade averse. I'm just not. I'm just happy with my team right now, and I don't. Like I said, I would reassess it in a few weeks, but.
I feel like the owners here are just like, you could be 0-3 and they think like their one guy is worth, instead of like having an honest their team, awareness thing, that, shit's going to turn around. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing all over again and expect gold. So I think everybody just values what they have, and they think like Lombardi thinks David Johnson is an RB1 value when he's not. He hasn't been. The team stinks.
Yeah, I mean, and that was
Gurley back in return.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the most. I mean, look, the one lesson from last season, I think, is that you feel free to throw somebody in the trash can. I mean, because Geese threw everybody in the trash can last year, and ended up winning because he had no. Whereas by the way, that was the interesting thing about the championship game last year was I had a team that I basically had most of them, from the draft. I mean, I would pick up players here and there and everything, but I mean, it was like two completely different styles.
Very lucky health season. I thought I had a stud team.
Right.
I had a week where literally everything that went wrong, I should have won. I would have won in the championship if I was in the championship.
Yeah, and
Geese had that was a miracle on ice thing.
Oh, it was absolutely a miracle for Geese to win. I mean, first of all, Geese, we've talked about this many times, but Geese had, what was it, 5 straight weeks last year where it was just unbelievable wins where nobody thought it was coming.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and
he must have been sacrificing goats. I mean, before the game, because I don't know how he did what he did.
No, I don't either.
Because he had absolute trash on his team, and he pulled it out. So
I know. Well, he called it defensive fantasy football, just like you said that you would have played McDonald before the game. All bullshit. Yeah. But you know what? Spout it all you want. Go for it.
Look, he won, so
yeah, I know.
He did something right, and he wasn't attached to anything, and he made the moves that he needed to.
Yeah.
I said, Lombardi's going to go down the drain with his shitty team.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I guess, are we going to do? I mean, the Whalers are going to be so pissed because this show is going along. Are we going to do the previews for next week's games? Or
sure.
All right.
What do you want to do?
All right.
Do it quickly.
All right. You want to do it quickly? Well, let's go through it. Hagglers versus hockey. Obviously, I'm going to pick the Hagglers in this game. I don't think.
Right now, Ottawa is favored.
I know, 116-70. That's because the Hagglers have not even put in Peterson in their lineup, and he's on a bye, so he's getting 0 points. And you haven't put in Cook. Is Cook playing this? Is Cook supposed to play this week, right?
I don't know. I think it's still a game.
He's still game time decision.
All right. Well, you got to.
It's a Thursday night game, and he's going up against the Rams. That's not a great matchup.
Yeah, I question what you do in that position. I don't know. I mean,
are you going to play Powell, who's going up against Jacksonville? That's another great matchup for you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another
sounds like you're
Avery situation.
It sounds like this is a team that you're ripe for a trade for a running back.
For 1 week to play Dr. Hockey. I don't think that Geese is going to sell his team to play
Or
Dr. Hockey. Because let's remember that Dr. Hockey ended up with a total of 4 points combined from his running back tandem last week. I think Clement might be able to take him single-handedly. I know it's
Geese loses, he now goes to 500. So
no, he drops below.
Right now he's the underdog. Baldwin wins, he goes to 1-3, which is not so much a point, but he's going to 2-2. You're like borderline playoff team.
No, he would be 1-3. Actually,
important.
He would be 1-3. Actually, I think.
Oh, 1-3. So this is a must-win for you, Geese. If you can't beat Auburn, you're the bottom dweller of the league. This is a must-win. I would do everything in their power to try to get a W here.
Yeah, trust me, I'm going to.
But I mean, basically,
my phone's open.
Yeah, I know. The lines are open with I'm
like Cashman.
Yes. 24 hours a day. So I mean, look. Cole going against Jacksonville, maybe he'll get some points. I mean, he's putting Fournette back in there, so I guess he's confident that Fournette's going to be coming back. Lindsey, I don't think he does. What?
But Breeze is going up against the Giants.
Oh,
he might put up 60 points.
Oh, wait a minute. We have a Vance McDonald spot, and you actually called it to me the other day, Geese, that you thought that I bet you Hockey's going to pick up McDonald, and look at that. He absolutely did. He picked up Vance McDonald and is going to play him.
Wow. What's the over-under? Who wants to take a bet that Vance McDonald puts up under 3 points this week?
I think it's under 3 points. I think he gets what did James get last week? 1.7. I think he gets under 3 points. I take the under.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing. Here's the fascinating thing. Right now, if this is how it plays out, Geese, you have Jesse James and Dr. Hockey has Vance McDonald. So let's see who Roethlisberger throws it to. It's actually a contest of the two tight ends on the same team. I would love to see this.
Yeah, I think Trey Burton might accidentally stumble back into the lineup.
Yeah, too bad though. I mean, this week actually has a bunch of matchups that I'd like to see that I don't know if necessarily are going to happen. But all right, Teddy Ginn against Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, Sanders is going against KC. Those games are shootouts. He's going to get a bunch of points there. I question how well Hopkins will do against Indianapolis. They've actually been surprisingly good in their secondary. No, but it might be. And then Pittsburgh, I think, has been pretty bad in their secondary. So Brown might actually have a good game. And that's just a question of who you put in your running back.
You know what? Fournette's still banged up. For him.
Is he? But he's putting him in the lineup. Is he going to play him?
I don't know. I mean, we'll probably know more news towards later in the week, but I think they're going to ease him in. So I don't know what he plans on doing with that. It's like a shitty situation.
He practiced on a limited basis.
Play Freeman over Lindsey too.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know. God, this hockey team is so bad.
Ted Ginn is, I don't know. He's not like a week-to-week play for me. Is Fitzgerald really banged up?
Yeah, he is. And that, what's the status on Fitzgerald? Did not practice on Wednesday. Still has a hamstring injury. Although they say regardless, the veteran should be fine for Sunday's tilt against the Seahawks. If Fitzgerald plays, especially with the Jewish chosen one, I might put him in there. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think you bench Ginn and you play Fitzgerald.
Oh, what about Cole? I mean, maybe I would play Fitzgerald and bench Cole. Maybe even play Ginn. I don't know, because the Giants defense is not
but
good.
He needs a flex. Who's he going to play in the flex then? He doesn't have enough running backs.
No.
Fitzgerald, Cole's going to give you more points than like a Lindsey.
No. I'm saying you play Adams obviously as your wide receiver one, and then he plays Ginn as the wide receiver 2, or whatever, or he plays Fitzgerald
No,
out.
I
Fitzgerald is your
Fitzgerald over again.
yeah, whatever. You play Fitzgerald as your wide receiver 2, and then I'm saying Ginn plays over Cole. You're saying you would play Cole over Ginn?
Yes, I would play Cole over again.
Interesting. I just think, although they're both playing New York teams, and both New York teams are not great.
Ginn's streaky.
Yeah, I know.
He's like a hill and just a worse.
I mean,
and with worse hands.
Yeah, I mean, you could. This could be a trap game for you, Geese, where you fall into the same kind of thing that the Vikings fell into with the Buffalo Bills. But I tend to think that you're gonna win this game, although
don't play Dez. Don't play Dez Bryant.
Yeah, don't play Dez Bryant. There's some advice for you, Geese. All right, I'm assuming you're not going to. You're gonna pick yourself in this game, Geese.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. It's by principle.
Yes. Okay. All right.
I think Geese is gonna pull this out. I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I do too, but I think he'll pull it out. All right,
I think Godwin needs to make some moves.
Godwin's team is terrible. Well, he makes moves, and they're all terrible. I have no idea. He's just a madman.
Yeah.
All right. Black Ice Dynasty versus Tillit Trey team. Black Ice Dynasty is 1-2. Tillit Trey is 2-1. The projection right now is in favor of Tillit Trey, 126.35 to 115.19. I mean, you got to give the advantage to Tillit Trey in this game. I mean, first of all, he should be 3-0 anyway. Second of all, so you got Roethlisberger against Baltimore. I think he'll do okay there. Evans against Chicago. Marvin Jones at Dallas. Saquon.
Evans has a tough matchup.
Well,
that's a tough matchup against Chicago. I think they got a good defense. I think Tampa Bay is going to come down to earth a little bit this game.
Yeah, they might.
Chicago's got a lot better defense.
I mean, that's true, but okay. But he's going against.
I think Barkley's going to have a good game against New Orleans.
Oh yeah, he's going to have a great game. Carlos Hyde at Oakland. I think he'll have an okay game.
Yeah, I think Till's going to win.
Yeah, I mean,
think it's not even going to be close. I think he's going to get a blown out.
Yeah, I mean, basically all that Miner has is he has. I mean, look, if Tyreek Hill does all right at Denver, then maybe he'll get some points there. I mean, Landry got some points last week, but I mean, his running back core, Drake and Henry. I don't know.
That's terrible.
Ertz is not. Ertz is good. I mean, Ertz will get him some points.
Ertz and Thomas are good. Hill's got a bad matchup in Denver, and Goff has a horrible matchup against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Although they just said that Griffin checked into a mental facility, so they're probably losing their best defensive end.
Oh, nice.
But, they still have good defense.
But also, I mean, they had a bunch of problems. I mean, like, a bunch of guys went down. Didn't Aqib Talib also go down?
Yeah, Talib went down, and I think both and Peters went down too.
Yeah, I think that I wonder how good their defense is going to be this week. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Yeah, but I'm definitely going to pick Tillit.
No, but Minnesota's defense is going to be good. Aside from Griffin.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So that's why Goff has a tough matchup.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying I was just opining about that game in general. Anyway, I do think that Tillit Trey will pull this out. I mean, because Miner just doesn't have anybody, and even if he didn't play Goff, I mean, his backup is Alex Smith, who's on a bye anyway. So yeah,
Tillit wins. I think Tillett's got a good team.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next. Oh, Geese, what are your predictions?
I have to go with Wayne. I think you guys predict it. It's pretty much writing's on the wall on this one.
Yeah,
that one's easy.
Yeah, all right. Whalers versus Lightning Rods. This is interesting because Lightning Rods is 0-3 at this point, but he's actually played 3 solid games. He's just the team that's run against teams that have beaten him this week. He has like the second. Yeah. I mean, I think he has the second highest point average in the league, or points for. So far, I don't know. Interesting. Whalers, though, I mean, look, he improved his team certainly after the first 2 weeks, and all right. Well, right now the prediction is 145.42 in favor of the Whalers to the 125.54 for the Lightning Rods. I mean, this is a must-win game if there ever is one for the Lightning Rods, because to drop to 0-4, it really starts to become pretty bad. So let's look at the matchups. So the Whalers did pick up a QB. He picked up Eli Manning versus New Orleans. It's actually not. I mean, look, Eli is not good, but versus New Orleans, it's not that bad a pickup. Tom Brady versus Miami. I'm curious. Who do you favor in that matchup between those two QBs?
Are you asking me or
anyone? Go for it.
I don't like Brady at all this season.
I don't either.
I don't think he has any weapons of that team aside from Gronk. I think think there's too much team friction on that team, so I don't love him this year. I don't own him in any league.
Yeah.
And I have 4. I think he's a good quarterback. Just this year, I hate him in fantasy. So Miami's defense in secondary is actually not bad. Fitzpatrick from Alabama's a stud, and they got that other shutdown corner in Howard. So I don't like Brady in this matchup. I think he's got no wide receivers. Edelman's still out. So they're going to take away Gronk, and I don't love this matchup for him. I think they might still win the game because I think Miami's played some weak opponents, but I just don't think he puts up a monster fantasy guy. So it's a bad matchup for Lightning Rods, whoever that is.
That's Aldwin's cousin. Him, you definitely won't know. So.
Is that Glean?
What?
Is that his cousin Glean?
No, Gayton.
Oh, Gayton.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, but you like Eli Manning, though? I mean, even though, I've never liked him in fantasy at all, but he is playing New Orleans.
I don't like Manning. I think aside from him and Trubisky are both crap for me, but he's got a good matchup against New Orleans. Might be a shootout, so he might have a good day, but Eli Manning is not a week-to-week plug-and-play.
Yeah, all right. So then you have Julio Jones versus Antonio Brown and Smith-Schuster versus Galladay. What do you give the edge in the wide receiver matchups to?
I like Antonio Brown. I think he's just a better player, and I think Roethlisberger forces him the ball more, and I think he's been underperforming, so I think they're going to try to feed him the ball a little bit this game. Julio, I think, is a little bit banged up, and I think they're trying to, after that first game, they've been trying to focus on getting other people the ball, like Ridley and Sanu and Hopper. So I think he's going to get his, but I like Brown better than Julio at this stage. And Cincinnati's got a pretty good defense.
And Smith-Schuster versus Galladay.
So Juju is actually, I like Juju better than Galladay. Juju is the recipient of Brown being double covered all the time, so he's getting single coverage and he's putting up some monster numbers. I think he had a great game last week, but he had like a New York bomb.
Yeah.
But Baltimore's a solid defense. It's a tough matchup for him as opposed to Galladay. He's going up against Dallas. So I like Juju better, but that's almost like a wash matchup because I think Galladay will get enough against a better matchup than Juju.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a wash, but I do give the edge a little bit to the wide receivers there. Here's where the real difference, I think, comes in is in the running backs. You have Kamara and Bernard. Kamara at the Giants and Bernard at Atlanta versus Miller at Indianapolis and Coleman versus Cincinnati. Obviously, the Whalers has an edge there in the running backs.
Yep, that's a big time edge. I think Miller's just actually like a 8-10 point day, 12 points. They're trash. Coleman I thought would actually do a little bit better with Freeman being out, but I don't know. They're just not using. They're like that Andy Reid. They don't like to run the ball there. I think they like Freeman more than him, and maybe that's why they're not giving him as many carries. But I thought he would do a little bit better than he has. I actually like Coleman better than Miller. But Kamara is a stud, so he could outscore both of them by himself. And anything you get a Gio or Mixon, whoever he starts there, is going to be better than what he has going. So definitely Whalers is a better matchup there.
Yeah, O.J. Howard versus Tyler Eifert. I'm going to give the matchup to Eifert, although, I don't know. Has Howard done anything?
I disagree there.
Do you?
I like Howard.
What has he done? I
like Howard.
Oh, wow, he's actually done well. I'm surprised at this. It's 18, 16.
Nope.
All right, well, okay.
No, I'm like, there's just no question. Howard's better than Eifert. So last season, Howard was getting like 3 for 30. He would get 3 catches. This season, I think with Fitzpatrick, they're throwing him the ball a little bit more, and he's breaking off. Athletically, he's a freak. If you watched him in Alabama, he's a stud. He was a rookie last year. I think he's coming into his own. But I think Lightning, I think he's a top 5 tight end, actually. I think he's around that 5'6" range. So I really like Howard, even though a lot of people don't. And I think he's
even with
a solid play.
Oh, sure, but even with the matchup at Chicago versus Eifert at Atlanta?
Yes, especially because I think Chicago's got a better defense, and he's more of a drop, like, safety net for Fitzpatrick, where I think they're going to try to take away the deep balls for Fitzpatrick on on Evans and now Jackson. I think he's going to get maybe like 5 catches as opposed to like the 3-4 that he normally gets.
All right. And then Robinson versus Allison. Allison playing Buffalo and Robinson versus Tampa Bay.
I guess I like
Geronimo.
I like Robinson a little bit better.
Do you?
I think the situation is much better in Green Bay with Rodgers being the better quarterback. But Robinson, I guess, is the wide receiver 1 on that team. So they're probably looking to him as their primary receiver on that team as opposed to Allison, who's like a 3 over there, right? Because they're looking at Adams and Cobb probably over Allison. Or maybe Allison is overtaking Cobb. I don't really know. But, the situation is obviously better at quarterback. But Rodgers banged up, and Robinson is the wide receiver 1 option. So I probably like Robinson by slight edge, but it's almost a wash.
Interesting. All right, Geese, what do you think about any of these matchups or this game in general?
Any of these matchups in this game in general?
No, I just mean any of the wide receiver pairs or the quarterback pairs or anything. Not any of the games, just whatever, or the game in general.
Anything, please.
Give us anything. Do you have any comment on anything?
I pretty much agree with what you guys said on this one.
Sure. So, were you even paying attention?
Yeah, we don't want to give anybody bulletin board material this week. These are some tough matchups this week.
Okay. Well, but I think I'm picking the Whalers. I mean, is anybody not picking the Whalers in this matchup?
No, Whalers.
Yeah.
Whalers, not close.
And I think Lightning Rod's runs into yet another tough opponent. Whalers is actually, at 145 is a very high projection. He really rebuilt his team.
I know, it's shocking. I mean, I feel like
he's got a good matchup at quarterback. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, and he picked Manning up.
He's got a good matchup. Otherwise.
Yeah, well, he still has the same problems, but I'm just saying he was at least smart about it, and he went out and picked up a quarterback, that's going to play New Orleans this week. I think that's good coaching right there. I mean, it's no godlike coaching like Eugene, of course, but yeah. I mean, I think it's
No, he needs a long-term quarterback answer. This is a sort of a streaming quarterback option, which is fine.
All right,
but it's not a long-term solution, is what I'm saying.
Right. All right. Well, let's have you. Did we go? No, we did not do this game. Your favorite person to shit on, Lombardi versus Nicky Baby, right now. Nicky Baby at 1-2, Lombardi at 2-1. The projection is in favor of Nicky Baby, 126.01 to 116.74. Eugene, I'll just let you take this over and do what you will.
All right. Let me take a look at this. Rodgers, Rivers. I like Rodgers here against Buffalo at home. So even though I like Rivers, and I think Rivers also has a good matchup, I like Rodgers just by a slight edge. Cup against Diggs, both shitty matchups. Minnesota and Rams, so they're playing against each other. I like Diggs more than Cup, so I'm guessing I'll take Diggs there. AG's banged up, so I would really have to see. I don't even know if he's playable this week. If he plays, I mean, I like him a lot better than Shepard, clearly. So I think Lombardi's got the edge at wide receiver there. Gurley and Elliott are better than David Johnson Lewis. That's where Nick really takes this thing. I mean, Gurley is stud. Gurley does have a tough matchup against Minnesota, so that's not like he might not put up his crazy 35-point games, But David Johnson's got a matchup against Seattle. I just don't like him. So Nick clearly has him there. I like Cook better than Disley. Murray's a bench player. He's not startable to me. So I like Goodwin over Murray. And, kickers are a wash. I don't even want to analyze that. Tennessee defense against Philly. Tennessee defense has actually played well. Although with Wentz, I like Philly. I think that's a bad matchup for them. New England defense is terrible too. I don't like either one of those matchups for them. I think Miami could put up a lot on New England, and I think Philly could put up a lot on Tennessee. So that's a wash. But, Nick has a better team in that Gurley and Elliott are better than Johnson and Lewis. So I think that's where the edge goes to. Everything else, I think Lombardi's got better wide receivers if AJ is healthy. And let me see who's got on the bench. Maybe he could start somebody over Goodwin, who's still a little bit banged up. I would start maybe Collins. I would probably start Collins if I was him over Lewis. So that would be the change I would make.
He also picked up Callaway this week, I know.
Yeah,
But he didn't
Callaway,
do much. He might do
I would probably put Callaway over Goodwin.
I mean, because you can't play. You can't play. I mean, first of all, look, you're not going to play. I mean, Nick would be foolish to play Murray, and I think that Lombardi would be foolish to play Goodwin. So I think that the flexes. I don't even think they're going to play this.
Who's he going to play over Murray? He's going to play. I mean, he can play Jordy, who had a good game, but hasn't done shit before that.
Look, he could play Jordy. He could play Cobb. He could play Brandon Marshall. I mean, I don't know, or just go pick somebody out of the garbage can.
So Nick clearly has the weakness of wide receiver. I mean, Cup, Shepard, and.
Oh yeah. Though. I mean, look, Shepard can do something against New Orleans this week, and I mean, look, he might be able to exploit a weakness, especially if AJ Green doesn't go. But you're right. I mean, I think it's
Shepard might get more balls because Ingram's banged up. So
right. So
you could have that going for him too.
Right. So I think that Nick. I mean, I think that combined because Diggs and Cup are gonna. That's going to be basically a wash. But I think the edge right now is for Nick in the running back position, and
yep.
And
I think Nick wins this week.
Yeah, I think he wins slightly, and it's only because of the running backs. But I mean, if Lombardi is to edge him out, it will be because he puts in a better flex than Nick puts in. Because I think he has more options to put in a better flex. Geese, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you might be right on that.
What was it?
So he's in his analysis. This is what he does. There's always that and it's like, yeah, I agree with what you said.
What was that? There was like one. Was it Major League where he just turned to the other guy? The guy wouldn't say anything. Well, there's another movie I think where he just asked the guy.
Yeah, everything you guys just said.
Yeah. All right, Geese. Well, I'm not going to...
I can't disagree. You guys have all the bases covered.
Oh, there you go. All right, Geese. Well, I'm going to make you do this one. I'm going to make you start out so you can't say anything. Nick and Jamie versus Fitzmagic, or the Millennials, as I'd like to call it. Right now, Nick and Jamie is the underdog, as Fitzmagic is supposed to get 133.09 to Nick and Jamie's 127.76. So, Geese, take it away. Let's see you have an original thought for right now.
I don't know. This game's too close to call. I'll leave it.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Let me look at this team. Wentz against Wilson. I like Wilson there.
Do you?
Even though it's in the I like Wilson there. I just think Arizona's terrible.
They are.
Their offenses. They're going to have a rookie quarterback. Tennessee's defense is not bad. Even though I like Wentz, I just think it's away game at Tennessee. He's got a good defense. I think Wilson could do more against Arizona, so I like Wilson there.
Sure.
Beckham over Tate, not even close against New Orleans. That's a runaway for me. I like Thielen and Hilton are actually kind of close. Thielen's got a bad matchup. You know what? Even though generally I like Thielen better, the matchup, it's almost a wash at this point because I think Hilton can have a good game against Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit of a wash. Maybe I even like Hilton a little bit better in this game. So I don't agree with the projections. I think Rams could, all of their secondaries banged up, so who knows. That's a tough matchup. I like Hunt over Howard. I think just Kansas City offense with, what's the Muhammad you're on now? At 100?
What's
that?
So
I like Hunt.
Okay.
Mahomes.
Oh, okay. Right. Sorry.
Is it Mahometer? I don't know the pronunciation of it. I like
the greatest of all time.
Better than Howard, just because, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Right, yeah.
I like Hunt. I think he's got more of a PPR play and just a little bit better matchup. But it's not like a clear cut because Howard's playing Tampa Bay. So, Tariq Cohen is who's his man? Why would anyone start Tariq Cohen? He's starting Howard and Tariq Cohen.
I guess he must not have any. Are people on buys for him?
I don't know what he's doing, but he better rectify that. I don't know. He clearly needs to do something about that. If you start, somebody should trade him Allen Robinson. He could have the whole Cubs team. I mean, the Bears team out of his lineup. I've never seen that. But so I'll give the edge to White there, even though I don't like White. Gronk and Kelsey is a little bit of a wash. I probably like Kelsey better than Gronk at this point. Kelsey's number one for me, even though it's a tough matchup in Denver. I think Gronk's going to do great. I think Miami's a good matchup for him, but I probably like Kelsey a little bit better. Aguilar against Grant. So I liked Aguilar, but lately I've been down on him because I think Wentz likes to throw the tight ends a little bit more. So I think Aguilar takes a little bit of a step back. I hate Grant. I don't think Rodgers throws to the tight end that much. I think he's overrated. So even though I don't love Aguilar, I probably would start anyone else. He probably starts Funchess normally, but he's on bye. Or try to pick up somebody else in that spot. I don't like that matchup, and I don't like Aguilar now. But I'd give him the edge over Grant. Because he's starting two tight ends. I don't know, Nick and Jamie. So I'd probably give the edge to Fitzmagic, just based off the edge and Beckham against Tate. I think the wide receivers are a little bit better, even though the running back situation is atrocious. I'm hoping that he doesn't start both Howard and Cohen.
So you're still
that can't happen.
So you would still pick the Millennials in this one, even if
I think yeah.
Even if he played both Bears running backs, you would still pick him.
That would be close. I don't think he's going to do that. If he does do that, it would be idiotic. But if he does do that, it's a coin toss at that point. I don't know. I would probably go the other way then. But if he plays anybody else, anybody off the waiver wire over Cohen, I would probably pick Millennials or Fitzmagic, whoever that is.
All right. Well, Geese, what do you think? Or are you just going to agree? There's nothing to agree with. I'm actually asking an opinion on this. What?
This has been excellent commentary. I really don't have too much to add. I think you guys really hit the nail on the head.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant. But still, I'd like your opinion on who you pick. Who would you pick?
I would probably. I mean, Nick and Jamie at 3-0 can afford to start 5 tight ends if they could. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Let's see. The two Bear running backs is interesting. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. Nick and Jamie are usually Patriots heavy, and they have a couple of Patriots in the lineup once a game. Hilton's been doing all right. Tate's been doing all right. Wentz in his return, he looked a little bit sloppy, but I guess you just have to work out the rust.
Nick and Jamie should start, by the way, Michelle over White. That's a no-brainer to me.
White gets the touch. I mean, he's like your guy that got 3 yards and has 17 points. White gets touchdowns. He gets the passing yards.
Yeah, I like Michelle better.
Well,
I think this game they're going to open them up a little bit.
I think that White should play over Graham, at least in the flex, but whatever.
Yeah.
Or hell, maybe he should play Michelle and White, so we'll have the two New England running backs going against Howard and Cohen, the Chicago running backs.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even play Jones. I would probably take a flyer on Jones over White right now, because he's back from suspension.
I mean...
Yeah, that could work.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't love that White matchup. I like Michelle better than White. Maybe going forward, Matt. Who knows what's going to happen this week? But going forward for the rest of the season,
I just don't. But I just don't like Patriots in general. But okay, yes, I agree. Maybe I would go with him eventually. I don't know, whatever.
Anyway, so I go Fitz by a hair.
I do if he replaces that running back. If he doesn't, then I'm gonna go with Nick and Jamie. If he plays if he plays two Bears running backs, then I'm going with Nick and Jamie. Geese, did you have your pick at least.
I'm gonna go with. I'm not gonna go with Nick and Jamie here. They've got the hot hand this season.
All right.
Fair. It's close.
All right. Well, that leaves us with one game left. The game that everybody wants to watch. Fitzmagic versus Mahomes. See, this is Fitzmagic versus Mahomes, though I don't have him in there right now. But maybe I will. Maybe I'll do it just for purposes of this, so you could think that we're going to have that epic quarterback battle. I don't know.
Both have tough matchups.
Yeah, well, you know. Chicago. Well, no, Mahomes
Who's
versus...
favored again?
What?
Who's favored? Who's favored?
In the 1603ers versus you're favored, 135 to 128.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Computer's never wrong on these things.
Never, even though all of my wins have come with me being... I think last week I was the underdog by like 20 points, and I ended up blowing mine out. But okay, it's never wrong. So go ahead. I mean, you have the greatest quarterback of all time, Mahomes. So I mean, I don't even know why. I don't even think I can compare.
I mean, I got the Joe Montana Jerry Rice situation with Mahomes and Thomas.
Yeah, you do.
I think I'm set. I mean, I would give the edge to Mahomes clearly because he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Ryan is okay. Depends on which matchup you get. Game 1 Ryan or game 2 and 3 Ryan. So Cincinnati is a tough matchup for him. I don't think he'll have the game that he had against New Orleans again. So I like Mahomes clearly there.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, I think, is going to score 55 points against the Giants. Ridley, barring a 3-touchdown performance again, I don't see them doing that. But Boyd's solid. I like Boyd. I mean, I clearly have the edge of the wide receiver. I think you would agree with me there.
I agree. I agree
Thomas,
that barring something unforeseen, you have the edge at wide receiver in terms of Thomas. I don't agree that Keenan Allen will do better than Boyd necessarily. He might. He could. I'm just saying it depends on his status.
Look, if he's healthy, I think he does better. But
sure,
and depending on AJ Green's health, also.
That's a factor
I
as well.
have McCaffrey out, so you're sort of taking advantage of maybe because I don't have McCaffrey in. But listen, this is what happens. So I got Lynch right now. I don't know if that's going to stay that way. I got Lynch and Carson. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My headphones are dying.
Yeah.
I got Ricky Seals. I think I'll give you the edge of tight end. I think Rudolph is better. Watkins, Fuller. I like Fuller. I like Watkins. I think it's a little bit of, I don't want to say a wash. You probably have the edge there. I think Fuller is a little bit better, and he's been solid. Better than Hopkins, actually, this season. So I think teams are doubling him. So I like Fuller a little bit better there. Kickers are wash. Green Bay, Buffalo, I picked them up. I'm looking for defense. I like their matchup best.
I did notice that.
Was clearly better. Yeah. So,
and they're playing the Jets.
Yeah.
No, I
think Jacksonville's clearly better.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would give you the edge actually at quarterback and most likely at wide receiver. I'd give myself the edge at running back just this week because of. But I mean, I don't think that you're bad at running back. I think Lynch is. I like Lynch.
No, I just think you're better. I mean, I like Gordon.
Yeah.
Lynch, I think.
Yeah.
Look, Connor. It depends on which Connor shows up. The first couple of weeks, Baltimore's a tough matchup for him.
It is.
So if they shut him down.
Yeah.
Carson could potentially have a better game than him.
Yeah,
because Carson actually captures the ball well. And Lynch has been solid this year. And he's going up against Cleveland. But Cleveland's got a pretty good defense. So
I think
it's not an easy matchup for him.
I think it's actually...
Clearly, I like Gordon.
I think it's a similar situation to what I think is happening in the wide receivers where, on paper, you definitely do have the edge. We'll see how it plays out. Like, on paper, I would have the edge in running back, but it's possible that given the matchups and everything else, you could have the edge at like the RB2.
I actually think this is a closer matchup. The computer's saying, looking. Hello?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I absolutely agree. I think that I honestly think this is a coin flip. I look at this and I think this is going to come down to the last game. And
yeah, what I need Mahomes to do his thing.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it. This is what's going to come down to Mahomes. If Mahomes
If the
does
greatest,
Mahomes-like things,
if the greatest of all
I'm
time,
okay.
if the greatest of
Yeah.
all time comes through for you, then
Yeah, I ride him. I ride and die with my guy.
yeah, yeah,
So I think I have the edge there. So if he puts up his monster game, I think I'm okay because I think I have the edge of wide receiver. I need my running backs to basically not shit the bed and just be average.
Right.
If I could do that, I think I could continue and squeeze out the because I think you have better running backs and better tight end play. The question is by how much. Can my wide receivers outscore your running backs? Because I think I'll beat you in the quarterback category, although not by a lot because I think Ryan's going to be okay.
yeah. No, I think this is a complete pick'em game. I unlike Geese who always picks himself, I always pick my opponent, so I'm going to pick you. But I'm sure you're going to pick yourself. But I don't know, Geese.
That wouldn't be me if I didn't pick me.
Of course, I know. I'm sure you're probably picking yourself to beat teams that you're not even playing this week. Geese, who are you picking in this game?
If all of Dave's players come to play and all of Eugene's players come to play, I give a slight edge, surprisingly, to Dave.
Really?
Dave's Secret Crush or Dave?
Up at the right time.
Wait. Dave's Secret Crush or Dave?
No, Dave, we're back in 1603.
Okay.
I think that
I can see Dave could pull this out.
I think Dave are back, and not just can pull it out. He's going to surprise a lot of people this week. Ridley and Boyd are getting red hot, and Allen is banged up. Lynch, I don't know if Lynch is banged up, but he's showing questionable, and Carson's still banged up. And Ricky Seals-Jones, I mean, besides the one catch for a touchdown, come on.
I'm hoping that Rosen targets him more. I think Ricky Seals-Jones, by the way, is a really athletic tight end. He's a stud. He just hasn't played a lot of football. He's just an athlete playing a tight end, similar to Gates. So he could catch those long bombs for a touchdown, but I think Rosen hopefully targets him more as a safety net, which is what I'm hoping.
Well, actually, and that's a complete question mark with Rosen coming in there. Like, how is he going to, we have no idea how that's going to play out.
I don't know the answer to that.
And then last year, our game was a shootout as well. I mean, like, I don't remember the final score, but I remember playing you last year, and I think DeAndre Hopkins was got some bomb. It was like back and forth and whatever, and I think
if I had McCaffrey, this would be a clear win. Right now is a pick'em. I could see you winning this game.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now I like me by a hair, but
you have some hair at least.
Close.
You have at least you have some hair, and that might be the difference. Yeah, no, I mean like. I like this. I like this matchup in general. I think it's going to be a high scoring, affair, and it's just going to be a question of, a play here and there. What?
It's a game of the week.
It is. It absolutely is. I think it is. All right. So before we go, I think that does all of the games. So who is your lock of the week and your upset of the week?
I closed down my phone, so I don't know. My lock of the week would be me.
Of course. I forgot.
If you won, that would be the upset of the week.
Okay, so you're
just a week, maybe a lifetime.
Right.
Maybe like the Buffalo Bills beating the Vikings.
Right, exactly. I mean, how can I put
any given week?
How can I expect any less from Eugene than picking everything surrounding himself? Both the upset.
No, there's a couple of games. I forget who it was. I think it was Tillett. That's probably the lock of the week.
Against LeVar. Yeah, that might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can Nikki be? Geese, who do you think is your lock of the week?
Lock of the week is Whalers over Lightning Rod.
Okay.
And upset of the week is 1603ers over Eugene.
Interesting.
So that's it.
Right.
That would be the upset.
Well, my lock of the week. I'm sorry. I still got to pick Hagglers over Odwin. Odwin is just so bad. I can't. I have to lock in that one. The upset of the week. Oh man, I don't even.
I think the upset of the week would be. Well, Godwin beating the Hagglers.
I mean, that would be the upset of the week if that happened. I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm not calling it. That would be the upset of the year. My upset of the week that will actually happen, that I think will happen. I'm going to call
Nick and Jamie lose, maybe.
I don't know. I'm debating between whether or not Lombardi can actually pull off an upset. But Nick and Jamie losing, would that be an upset? I mean, they're not even favored right now. Oh no, Nick and Jamie. Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, Nick and Jamie moving to 4-0 versus Fitzmagic would be my upset of the week, I guess. But I mean, with that Howard and Cohen, I mean, like I don't know. If he does that, then yeah. Nick and Jamie moving to 4-0. That's my upset of the week.
All right, guys. I'm going to take off.
All right. Well,
but
yeah.
Good podcast.
Good.
Great insight and analysis.
I agree.
You're the John Madden of this thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Eugene. Yeah. Thanks, Eugene.
Yes,
thanks, Geese. And then also a reminder to everybody else that if you want to be on the program, just let me know. We usually record these Wednesday nights at around 10:30 Eastern. We could work around your schedule somewhat within those parameters, but yeah, we'd love to have other people on the program than just me and Geese. And I think Geese loves it too because he doesn't have to say a thing.
Should I have said first time, long time when he called in?
Yeah, you should have. Actually, but it's not your first time.
First time, long time.
It's just.
I know.
You were on last year. Whalers should be on the program. He was messaging me about how he was disappointed he was never invited. Well, he should come on. I've told him that he's welcome to come on.
Have him come on and talk shit.
I know. Let's see how short he can keep it, because I'm sure this is going to drive him nuts how long this podcast is. There's always the fast forward button.
Guys, I gotta run.
All right. Thanks. Good luck this week.
Later, buddy.
All right.
Later, Geese.
Yep, peace out.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.